Hello everyone, welcome. So for this screencast lecture, we're going to go over the 5 themes of geography. Now the 5 themes of geography are ways in which that we can take this really big study. What is a geography class? We study anything and everything on the surface of the planet, whether it's physical geography, human geography, whatever. We can tie in just about all subject matters, whether we want to talk about ecology, cultural anthropology, history, government, everything mixed in, and it's chaos. It's really hard to kind of consolidate and organize all that information. And that's exactly why we have the 5 themes of geography. Basically, everything that we study in this geography class be boiled down and kind of looked through one of these 5 lenses. So let's go ahead and dive right into the 5 themes, okay? So theme number 1, location, okay? This is your grandparents' geography class, okay? Where is it? Can you point to that place on a map? Now there are actually 2 subcategories within this. The first one is absolute location. It's latitude and longitude, point to it on a map. We, in the modern age, we tend to dismiss this a little bit because why do I need to memorize anything when I have Google Maps, right? And yes, to an extent, yes. Do you need to memorize all the states and their capitals? And by states, I mean countries and capitals and things like that. I guess you could talk about the US states and their capitals as well. But maybe not to the extent that we used to emphasize that. But at the same time, if you're given a country name, you should be able to get it in the right region. So I wouldn't dismiss it altogether. I wouldn't want to have to go to Google Maps every time I needed to know one minor location. So don't rely on Google Maps too much. That's my piece of advice for you. The second subcategory within this theme of location is situation. And that one, I think, is much more critical. You kind of hear it the first time and think, well, that's kind of an odd thing to talk about. But I think it makes much more sense when you put it in context. If your house is situated if your house is situated at the edge of a canyon here in Southern California, you're probably going to want to make sure that your house has fire insurance, right? If your city is situated on a low-lying coastal area, you got about 100 years to figure out how to keep your city from getting engulfed by the ocean because of rising sea levels. Situation helps explain places in context. So it's a really useful thing to remember and emphasize. Theme number 2, this one is my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I think this one is my favorite. I can't play favorites, but I think this one's my favorite. And that is place. Location and place are very different concepts. Location is where's it at? Place is what makes that location special. Every place is unique. So when we talk about place, it's what are the physical characteristics and what are the human characteristics that make this place unique, So if we picked a spot like San Diego, we could talk about just pretty much the perfect weather all year long. We could talk about the Southern California culture. We could talk about California burritos. Those are the things that make Southern California and San Diego unique and special, right? Every location, everywhere on the world has different features that make it special. And that's the theme of place. Again, it's the physical and human characteristics that make different locations special. So location is simply where is it at? Place is what makes it unique. The third theme of geography is human-environment interaction. We manipulate the environment. If we want to build a house, we have to manipulate that land, right? But also we adapt and we rely on that land as well. So the ways in which we are changed by the environment that surrounds us and the ways that we alter the environment surrounding us. Those are major themes, one of the major themes in geography. Obviously, we don't have to go into detail right now about climate change and the things that we are doing to our environment, but to take it on less of a macro scale and look a little bit more in depth, it's simply about how the different ways in which humans choose to alter their environment. The uniform landscapes of the West, the adaptation methods to live in very high locations, altitude up in the mountains or in the deserts and things like that. Those are all ways in which we can learn about different cultures and the ways in which we interact with the environment that surrounds us. Okay, theme number 4, regions. So this actually goes back to that conversation we were just having about place, which, by the way, there's no specific order any of these are supposed to go in. Location, place, human environment interaction. They're all just kind of out there. It's not like there's a specific order in which they need to go in. But that's neither here nor there. So let's keep going. Regions. So I know that we talked about how every place is unique, and that is true. But many places, and when I say that, I mean I'm being very specific. That is our theme. Many places have a lot of similarities. So while San Diego and Los Angeles are two different places, and there are things that make them separate from each other and unique from each other, they are quite similar. So maybe it's maybe more of a physical determinant, so it's like climate or landscape, or more of a cultural thing. A lot of places are pretty similar to each other. So when you take those similar places and group them together, that's how you get regions. So a really easy way to talk about this would be like a vernacular region of Southern California. There's something about Southern California that sets us apart from Northern California. Maybe it's the amount of rainfall, maybe it's the vegetation, like the different trees that they've got up there versus what we don't have down here. Or it's a cultural thing, surfing versus snowboarding, and et cetera. Okay, and our last theme that we're going to talk about, theme number 5, is movement. Okay, so tracking how things move around the globe. Okay, we could be talking about products. Okay, so we live in a globalized world, and we're going to track exactly why and how our clothing gets made in Bangladesh rather than here at home. You could talk about how news travels. You could talk about how cultural trends travel, right? So songs that are popular here in the US, I'm willing to bet you're going to find other places on the planet that are popular there as well. So how does that culture travel? The movement of that cultural idea, the cultural trait. And lastly, the movement of people, right? People move all the time. These are called migrations. Why do people migrate? Why do people move from one place to another? It's a really brave and bold thing to do. It takes a lot of reasons for people to pick up and leave what they know to move somewhere new. So that is another kind of subcategory within the theme. So if we were to recap, here's what we got. We've got location, where is it? Place, what makes it special? Human environment interaction, the ways in which we change the environment and the ways in which the environment change us. Regions, the ways in which we can group similar places. And then lastly, movement, all the products, news and information, as well as culture and people that move around the planet. Thanks so much for watching this. Again, we may or may not come back to this throughout the school year, but it's just a good thing to piece of knowledge to put in your pocket and help categorize a lot of information, because there will be a lot of information in this class. Thank you.